It's the same reason, like I use the example of if your kid was bad in school, you wouldn't expect the mayor to come over and ground your kid. You'd be like, what the hell are you doing here? Hello and welcome to episode 90 of the Green Outdoors podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm AJ.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Ryan.
You know, Ryan, we're all enjoying, again, this is not a sponsor thing, but we're all enjoying this Zevia 0-calorie soda, creamy root beer.
50% booze.
It's not. not even a little booze.
50%.
You just start yelling booze.
Woo!
0 calories malt liquor.
The way I tell my can apart from everyone else's, my dad taught me this. He said it was an old party trick. He would dent the front right here of the can, like where you drink out of it. That way, if anyone picked up the can, because your thumb always goes here. Yeah. Anywhere else on the can's a wild card, but everyone's thumb always goes there, you know? So you put the dent there so that when someone feels it and they slip their, thumb in that dent hole, they know, they didn't have my permission to slip the thumb in there, you know?
How dare they?
Your dad's a genius.
Yeah, he really is. So that's how I know we don't have the same soda.
My method is I spit in it so then no one else wants to drink out of it.
Mm-hmm.
He does. His first.
He forgets to tell everyone though.
Yeah. So there's always
just watches.
I'm glad Jeff got it. Actually, my buddy Isaac, his niece, who was probably 4 at the time, has 2 other sisters that are older than her, and she was digging in the fridge with Isaac for food one time, and
he's got diabetes, so you gotta be careful.
Yeah. You can't drink out of the same glass as him, or you'll get it.
Yeah.
His fridge has probably got all the gross food in it.
No,
sugar-free and
Fresca.
Wait,
let him tell a story.
I'm telling a story, man. So this little 4-year-old, they're digging through the fridge together, and he goes, "Is this yours, Evelyn?" And she goes, "Yeah." And she's like, "I don't want anyone else to drink out of it," so I spit in it. And Isaac goes, people can still drink out of it. You have to tell them it's yours, or people are just going to be drinking spit water.
Kid spit water, too.
Yeah.
Kid spit with the chunks.
Yeah. Germ factory.
Yeah.
I was more worried about the animal crackers, but you were the guy that was scared of COVID, so.
That kid also...
Before COVID, kids never spit germs.
That poor kid, too. Her and her older sister, who is about 2 years older, she was around the same age, four-ish. They were down in the basement playing, and the 2 sisters came upstairs, and the mom is like, "Why is Evelyn acting so crazy, Gabby?" And she's like, "I don't know." And then she keeps running around. She's going nuts, running around, just being crazy kid.
Cocaine.
Close.
Oh.
She's like, Gabby was like asking Gabby, like, what's going on with her? Well, she did drink some dirty water downstairs. And she's like, what? She goes downstairs. It was a bottle of dip spit.
Oh my God. The kid was high.
A nightmare.
So she was all...
Dude, that...
Oh. So she had some pretty bad diarrhea after that.
Diarrhea, dude?
Yeah.
Dude.
But she was okay.
Did she throw up?
Nope, she didn't throw up. She just ran around for a while, then got some crazy diarrhea, and then...
Ran around for a while? Can you imagine how bad that must have burned?
Breathed?
Right? Is that burn? I don't know. Is that a burn thing?
No, I think she was just
a severe gross thing.
It's like a thick yolk down the throat.
Yeah.
Thick yolk down the throat?
Riding that buzz pretty good.
So I've never had alcohol. I've never done drugs. I've never done anything except for one time I tried chewing tobacco for 60 seconds my senior year of spring break in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Not only that, it was the wimpy kind.
He was on the baseball team, so he's like, the
spitless kind.
Well, everyone did it. No, it was Skull in a pouch apple.
Oh, it was pouches?
The little baby kind.
Yeah, the
and
cute kind.
And he puts it in, takes it out, throws up, and then I didn't see him for the rest of the day.
I slept for 17 hours. I threw up 9 times. Woke up and Brittany's sink was near me. Don't know why she was there.
Oh,
yeah.
Not her sink. That's her last name.
Motherly instinct.
Yeah.
What are you going for?
I wasn't going for anything. I slept for 17 hours and woke up distraught still. Yeah, I got shaky. 60 seconds it was in. But like I said, I've never had nicotine, never had alcohol, haven't had any of these things. So
that's an appropriate reaction for everyone's first time doing
is
anything
true.
nicotine related. Is you just
who
disappear for 24
people are like,
hours.
oh, it's like an acquired taste. I'm like, who would tolerate this? I'll never again. So I'll go back to never once ever doing anything again.
I did it one time, and I don't know if I
like a.
Is that when you were in the basement staring at the ceiling listening to people watching Notorious B.I.G. and you thought you were going to die and call me?
Else.
Philadelphia.
Can you like do it wrong?
Chewing tobacco?
Swallow
You can swallow it. I did not swallow it. I did not. I was
I-
so careful.
I
Yeah,
had a
it doesn't
good-
matter. You swallow some.
I
For
had
both
a-
seconds, it was in my mouth. I made very sure.
I had a good wad in, and I felt nothing. And I
Long
had it in
cut?
for like an hour, and then gave up and spit it out because I'm like, I just feel the need to spit all the time. This is gross.
Yeah.
I don't get why people like it, but I felt nothing.
I
Wow.
like
So
it.
I don't.
My first time, it was similar to that.
We
Yeah.
look at Jeff's. It was Big League Chew.
Yeah, the pink stuff. It seemed hard. Everyone was like, "Oh, be careful."
I don't mind a snus pouch. Like
Oh,
every
yeah,
4
yeah.
years, I'll do like one.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Does it anything?
No, that one. No, I enjoy that one.
Yeah?
It's a fun little buzz.
Yeah.
But like the long cut or like the skull pouches.
I literally thought I was dying.
I can
Copenhagen.
I was like praying.
see- Yeah. Oh, that's
Shake.
the other
That's my
one.
go-to.
That's the other one.
Mine was I had a buddy who lived in Pennsylvania but was going to state, so he'd drive that like 10-hour drive, and to get home, because 10-hour drive you get tired, he would put in some dip, and that's basically the only time he ever
That's
dipped
his Red Bull.
was just to get home. So he's like, I have some. You want to try it? I'm like, I don't know. I'm
He
not.
coated the inside of his car with puke.
But I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'll try it once just so I can
Yeah.
understand what it's like. I know I'm not gonna like do it moving forward, but I'll try it one time, and
Yeah.
nothing.
Sounds like you have an issue.
My dad, my dad used to dip when I was younger. He's since stopped, but he offered it to me one time. I was pretty young.
He was
probably
getting
6 or 7. He was trying to get me to taste it, and I was like, well, what is it? And he goes hornet stingers, because it burns the inside of your mouth. Like
Yeah.
the actual. I didn't try it.
Yeah.
Especially after he said it was hornet stingers.
He goes, and as a 4-year-old, I was curious, so I tried it.
No. My first
He
time,
like goes like this, and he's missing part of his lip.
my first time trying it was at church. We were having some event outside, and Isaac had some. He was 18, which it's since changed to 21, which is ridiculous to me. But he was 18 when you could buy it at the time, and I stole it out of his truck and put it in. And then I'm like, this is not good. I was probably 16ish,
Okay.
and
Did you throw up in his truck?
no, I had to go into the church, and then while I'm walking into the church, I get stopped by someone, and man, they are just blah, 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 blah.
Talkie McGee gets
Yeah,
you.
the longest conversation of my life, and I'm just sitting there like doing my best to hold it down, and
Please
not
tell
be
me you threw up
suspicious.
on them.
Yeah.
Please.
No, they got done at the perfect time. I swing the door open, and I go running to the stall. Like the stall door is like halfway open, and it's like coming out of my mouth
Oh,
and like
geez.
projects into the toilet.
Oh, so you made it.
Did you get the rim at all?
I think I got a little bit of everywhere.
Cool.
But near the vicinity of the toilet, no one ended up finding out about it unless I told them. And my second, I stopped.
Now everyone knows.
I stopped. I didn't do it again until my 18th birthday, but I was working construction at the time, and I was using a skid loader.
And you just wanted to be trash.
There's a picture. Yeah.
When in
I was-
Rome.
Drinking my Mountain Dew and dip.
Man.
God, stop at the gas
and-
station
and-
at
and hot
5:30
Cheetos.
a.m.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's a lot, dude.
But yeah, I was
Glad we
I was
rescued you.
running that skid loader and all my lines with the skid loader, like just.
How many empty ones were on the floor of your car?
Never in my car. I didn't do that, but
Oh.
I did have stacks of them.
Okay.
For a while there, I was collecting them. I don't know how many I've bought.
He goes, I actually remember this one time. I got a huge cup of it going. I left it in Isaac's basement, and then then what's her name drank it all. I had to start it again.
That did happen. We would stop at Speedway, and me and Isaac would stop at Speedway in the morning and get coffee, and he drank all his coffee and using it into using it as a spit cup. And our coworker thought it was his coffee and drank it. And no, Isaac drank it. It was reversed.
Oh, good.
Coworker Carl
yeah.
was spitting in it, and then Isaac grabs his coffee, drinks it, and he's like, and it comes like pouring out.
I'm literally.
It was pretty bad.
That's rough.
Ick.
So
I would say I would go as far to say there's no value in tobacco.
no, it's all worth it.
Yeah, it's all.
Do it. Do
I've
it.
heard good
Do
things.
it as young as you can.
Just that's even an option that you could accidentally do that. I'm out. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll leave that as my one try thing.
Yeah.
I just spit wherever I'm at.
Oh, good.
Okay. All this throw up talk reminded me of the fact that I got food poisoning for the very first time about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been to that restaurant since. But Abby's been talking about tacos nonstop, and today I was like, I could go for some tacos.
Does
So I was
sound
like,
good.
I'm gonna suck it up and I'm gonna go to that place.
All right.
It's right down the road.
Probably a fluke. You know.
Yeah, that's what I was
probably
telling
fine.
myself. I'm
Yeah.
good now, I guess.
Yeah.
It hit me like a ton of brick. I couldn't believe the pain, the stomach pain.
Yeah.
I was like, this just hurts,
Yeah.
like different,
Huh.
not just Rhea, you know.
Got a little loose caboose there.
Not like dip sickness.
Throwing Rhea. Anyhow,
God.
I'm there, okay, and I'm waiting in line. I'm minding my business, and I'm getting carryout orders, and there's a line. I am only going to describe what happened. I am not saying anything except for a description of what I saw. I'm not adding opinions. I am describing as I saw it
You're a journalist.
without added modification.
Nice.
There is a woman there. She is roughly 70. She probably weighs 100 pounds, skinny. She has on a shirt that's way too big for her that said something about supporting Ukraine. She has a rainbow mask on.
No.
She has long gray hair and a hat on. And the restaurant is it's a Mexican restaurant. You can say that, right? Yeah. Mexican restaurant, and the guy that works behind the counter is of Mexican descent, and he brings out her food for a carryout order. Again, I am only repeating it as it took place. And she said, "You son of..." No, I'm just kidding. But actually, it's a little worse. So she walks up to this guy, and she goes, "Hey, did you hear about that shooting in Texas?" He goes, "No." She goes, "You know what? That guy went in there, and he shot up all those kids. They were all Mexican." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And she goes, "All Mexican, though." He goes, "Yeah, okay." He goes, "Well, was the shooter Mexican?" She goes, "No." And she grabs him by the arm. She goes, "So I wanted you to know that I cared about it and I was upset." He goes, "Well, I think it's, like, I don't think it matters. Why would you say, like, they're Mexican? Like, it doesn't matter." She goes, "Hello, Mexicans," and goes like this, like, as if to insinuate, "Look around you."
Everyone else is getting this point that you're missing clearly. Duh.
And I at this point now, I'm off of TikTok, and I'm attempting to get my camera out because I'm like, I don't know what else is going to happen. I want this. I want this. I didn't get it out in time, and then she goes like this and grabbed the bag from him and was like distraught that she was like, and to me, as far as what I've witnessed in my life, I put that in the top 3 most racist things I've ever seen. Because she was
in the most backwards way.
because she was so progressive in her mind
Yeah, she's a savior.
that she was like above him, like, let me help, like, I'm helping you
You should know that I care, and you should be grateful for that.
because this is you. And whereas he's like, listen, lady, whether they're black, white, Mexican, whatever, it doesn't matter.
It's terrible.
Like, it's a terrible thing that these kids died. You don't have to keep it's no more significant to me than it is you.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I am of Mexican descent doesn't make it more important to me. Also, I don't even know that it's true.
I think the shooter was Mexican.
So I said to him, I was like,
I'd just like to add that AJ is Mexican, so we can say all this.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been running it through him of like, did I break any rules?
We good?
Yeah. And so I go to the guy, I'm like, I look at him like this, and he's like, geez, I said to him, I was like, the people like that, the woke people, don't understand that, like, by being so anti-racist, they have such a strong focus on race. Like, she thought this was him because the kids on the other side of the country were of the same descent. It didn't matter that we're all Americans. We're all human beings. We're all Homo sapiens. It doesn't matter whether you're black, white, Mexican. If kids die, it's very sad. And it's no more significant if this guy doesn't know them. Yeah, hello. And I said to him, I was like, they don't even get the fact that, like, what they're doing is so, like, they live in, like, this fantasy world where it's like she thought she was doing him a favor by going out of her way to say that there was Mexican kids on the other side of the country that were killed. That must impact him, and she needed him to know that she's such a good person that she cared about it because they were Mexican.
So
and he was also Mexican.
So, you know.
So in an attempt to be not racist and to be helpful, she ended up being racist.
To the fullest extreme.
And by the way, anytime, I don't even feel bad saying this, there should be no focus on whether you're black, white, Hispanic. It doesn't matter. If you're American, if you're a human being, you matter. There should be, like, all this focus on, like, the separation of those things only makes you focus on the differences of those things. But we're all human beings. And just seeing someone be that stupid and say it like that to a human being, and he's like, what I said back to him, he's like, you made my day. I was like, well, she made mine, so I guess that's it. And he laughed, you know, and that was that. But I was just flabbergasted that woman's like, and she's out there driving. She drives.
And what are you just standing there like?
It's just why I looked up from my phone.
This?
I looked up from my phone like this ain't. I thought she was. I was like, she must know him. That was my first thought. She must know him, and she's messing with him.
Yeah.
And wow, what an edgy joke.
Yeah.
But no, and she's in her car going, can't believe you didn't appreciate what I did for him. I'm really stepping it up for those people.
That, or it's just
like,
the opposite. She thought she did her good deed for the day.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, I can't believe
She's
you
out
didn't
there
appreciate.
doing other stuff like this. This was a casual interaction for her.
She drives a very old minivan, if you were wondering.
License plate number.
In other less crazy news, we are going to be going up and filming, and I am so excited about it. We're a little late in the season, a little worried about it, but we're going to go up and film a brook trout episode.
Woohoo!
AJ and Ryan's
Oh, yeah, the cold water.
AJ and Ryan's second least favorite thing to film.
It won't be cold water, so you'll be fine.
Yes, it will.
Why?
It has to be. The trout won't be there, stupid.
That's why, because it's late in the season. The trout won't necessarily be there because the water's warmer.
Dude,
I'm not going to take them where the trout aren't.
In April. And
I'm like a.
you should take them to that one bridge where we saw like 8 of them.
Yeah, we kind of should maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a bridge in Traverse City this weekend at Jeff's bachelor party. We went over this bridge during our 7-hour bar crawl.
Where you didn't drink and you
I
got to
don't-
watch
I don't-
everybody else
Yep.
and got to see a girl with underwear around her waist.
Yeah, remember the 90s girl?
Oh, yeah.
There was
With
a
the
girl,
whale
AJ,
tail.
walking around with her underoos all the way up, like pulled up,
Oh, yeah.
like the 90s. I
Like
said,
Christina Aguilera.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was in the
yeah.
group chat.
We have a picture.
I saw it.
I was like, hey, the 90s want your underwear back, but that was a thing. That was a thing. I remember that was us in high school
Yeah,
in
it
the
was.
2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was
You
like,
were doing it?
yeah.
He wore the thongs with the. He had them up almost to his belly button. It was real weird.
Yeah, I like the front to show too. No, there was man, it was like 2005, 6, 7. The girls in class would all wear the pants real low and the underwear
It was-
lifted up. That was the
It
thing.
was a little earlier than that, but yeah. It
That's
was
what-
a thing.
Well, that's when it got to Madison Heights, the mean streets of Mad Heights.
Mm-hmm.
That's
fake,
what.
fake actors and everything.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that is true. This is such a random fact. But yeah, that was a thing. So we did see that. But in addition to that, on the bridge we saw the fish. And it was a bridge in downtown, but there was like 5 or 6 rainbows that were all like 12 plus inches.
Oh, wow.
That were all
Pretty good.
decent. But my thought is they're never going to bite. I bet those things get casted to.
All day long.
And people
Yeah.
throw stuff. It was Cherry Fest, so people are just probably throwing them stuff.
Spitting in the
Nelly
water
was
to see if
down
they
there.
take it. I'm like, they're
Yeah.
not carp.
Every time I've walked by there, I've looked down and never once have I seen one fish,
Really?
let alone 8. Very bizarre.
Well, maybe it's because we pointed them out to you.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Well, Scott
do- you
pointed
do
them
wear
out, and
glasses.
then we
Scott
saw
pointed
them.
one out, and then I knew they were there.
And
It's
then
like
we
4-leaf
saw them.
clovers or morel mushrooms. Once you know they're there, you start spotting a bunch.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Anyhow, we're going to take them up to Mesik, and we're going to bounce around. I'm going to use Onyx because I have all the best rivers saved for late season in my Onyx app so that we can bounce around from spot to spot. I'm literally obsessed with OnX. We are sponsored by them. I'm always transparent with that, but at the same time, it just makes a lot of sense. When you go in there, the amount of information you can save. Number one, I can use OnX when I don't have service. Very important. And for those of you who don't know what I'm saying when I say OnX, it's a mobile application. And on that mobile application, you can map out everywhere you want to go, and it's super interactive. So, like, I can go to a trout stream, and I can see all the boundaries around it, where it's public, where it's private, if it's navigable, meaning that I can go on private land. I can see all of these different things, and then I can walk to them and get to them. On top of that, you can take pictures when you're there. So I'll take pictures where I park my truck so that I know where I park my truck. So when I'm trying to find that spot the next year or a couple years later and try to go back to the same trout area, I know roughly where I can park my truck. I take pictures of whatever fish I get there and save them to that spot so that I can like go through and be like, oh, okay, these are the 7 fish that I caught on that day. Here's what I caught them on, and here's what the temperature was outside, and then the other information I save in there, and here's a picture of where to park. Here's where I got in, and here's where I got out. And I can mark all those points on there, and it's just saved in there all the time. And it's not expensive, so you can't, like, I can't trout fish without it because, and you can use it offline, like I said. You can download the maps of, like, depending, you can do a 5 square mile radius of super, super high def version, or you can do a lower res version at 10 miles. Lower res version's punny. So you got all that range so that because your phone never has service out there, so you can be protected while you're out there to like find your way back to your truck and everything like that. It saves everything.
Regardless, you'll know where you are, whether you're on public land or you've accidentally like, oh, here's private land. Make sure you stay off.
Or
there.
you just got to go through there real quick. No, I'm just kidding.
I always pin the spots that people show me whenever I go out with someone and they show me their spot. I always make sure. Also, I do actually do that. That's not really a joke. I really do that.
You're savage.
But
I'm not taking. You don't have to film. You don't have to film trout.
You're not. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're giving what you want.
Yeah.
I did use it while I was trying to buy a house, looking at property lines and everything. I would walk the property because some of the places we looked at had acreage, so I'd walk the property and see exactly like where the lines are.
Yeah.
It shows you every boundary.
Yeah.
Just to get a better idea of what am I really looking at here.
And it's incredibly accurate. Incredibly accurate. So besides that, we're going to be going up to Northwest Michigan. There is a lot of cold water streams there. And what I've always done is, and this was like my favorite thing to do, especially, I used to have like an old map book before OnX, and I have a map book that has all the same kind of notes, but obviously not as detailed. And, you know, those things, boundary lines change all the time. I mean, you know, they're always selling off and adding state land and getting rid of it, and people are buying and selling property, and some stuff goes to deeds, you know, all those sorts of things. The other cool thing about it is you can click on, like, let's say you looked at a piece of private property. You can click on it. It'll show you who owns it, and you can look up their contact information. So, like, let's say you needed to go on their property. You shot a deer, and it went onto that property. You could then find that contact owner, find out what their address is, and then go there and ask permission to go on there. Or they might live out of state or whatever it is, and you can contact them that way. So that's also really beneficial. But we're going to go up there, and I bounce around. I like, okay, this stream feeds off of, you know, this river or that river that's a known blue ribbon trout stream, meaning that it's going to be cold water. Because when you're doing this, you're looking for cold, clean water for trout. And then I would just find the best path in, and now I can use OnX to do that, but I would find the best path in. Once I would find it, I'd get there, and sometimes you get there and it'd be like ripples of water and not a stream at all. That happened to me several times. And then other times,
There's a creek.
right, yeah, barely. But what I'll do is, and this is a little tip for people that do this kind of fishing, is once I would get there, if it was really small, I would follow it downstream a ways just to make sure it stayed there. Because what would happen is some of these small creeks, and I'm talking water just running over rocks, it would get pooled up in some spots. And you find a pool no bigger than this room, but you cast in there and you could tell no one's been there before, because as soon as that lure hits the water, you got a 12-inch brookie on. Yeah. And that's like that exploring and that hunting aspect to it's awesome. Why Ryan's complaining, why he doesn't like it, is because you will have no short of 30 ticks on you, which some people find to be not cool, which I get.
If you're lucky, you could also get the occasional leech.
Dude,
He goes, there's leeches?
I would take ticks over the next thing he's gonna mention.
Bears.
What was the water?
Oh, I was going to say mosquitoes next.
Oh, ticks, mosquitoes, leeches, take it all.
You
100% over the water.
You often can't see there's so many mosquitoes.
Yeah. Or those other little bitey flies with the wings that are like
The
round.
they're like people
They're
call them
like-
deer flies. I don't know if that's the official name. Some people call them horse flies. I don't know if that's a different thing.
That's a
Yeah, I
different
don't know.
one.
Big old black flies that they don't just bite you, they chew you.
I've never been bitten by them before.
I
I've
have
heard,
oh,
I've heard
you
horrible
know
things.
it. You know it if you did. You know I get rashed up from it sometimes too if I get.
We found a spot where we parked the truck and we go to get out, and the truck is just swarmed with them, and we had to sit there and go, okay, we can do this. We just got to get out, run, get into the water, and then at least our lower body will be fine, and then we'll bug spray, and then we'll be good. Okay, we'll count of 3.
Yeah, and
There were so many.
it was kind of fun. I was talking to Abigail about this type of fishing, and I was like not heavy on the emphasis. She's like, "Oh, I'd try it. Oh, I'm tough." I'm like,
No, dude.
"Okay,
All right,
okay,
perfect. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
yeah,
Great.
yeah." I mean, if she can stick it out, that'd be awesome. But
Yeah.
I don't see.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll.
You
She
never
won't
know.
be happy.
She rides horses. You never know.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Ryan doesn't like it.
Yeah.
No, it's a little tough.
Yeah.
It's
It's a niche.
I love it.
Yeah.
I can't
Oh,
wait to
great
go.
time.
Yeah, I love it. If you can get past the mosquitoes, then the other thing is you're looking for 55-degree or colder water to get in. And I don't know if you've ever been in 55-degree water, but that's cold.
Chilly.
Yeah.
I swear.
But you go numb pretty quick.
If the water was warmer, I would be all about it.
Make your knees rattle.
Yeah, it's not great,
Yeah.
you know, the cold water, but you need
Especially not because you could go in waders and be like relatively warm, but we both like the freedom of movement that you get wearing just long pants and then like basketball shorts.
I think I'm gonna do the QuietKat has those like reef pants. I forgot the name of them.
Oh, yeah,
They're
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
they're
good
like
call.
the thin pants, and they're designed for fishing like on sand flats and stuff in the ocean, but they dry so quick and they're long. And they're nice enough. They're nice enough that they, the flies and stuff.
You
wouldn't
tuck
go-
them into your water shoes.
I don't think I would. I'd probably just let them drape over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went a little longer on the length because of that.
Yeah.
But other than that, we wear like tight, like spandex type under ruse.
Long John.
Yeah, long johns, and then water shoes, and then a bathing suit. The other thing is like you're gonna get poison ivy. You're not gonna miss
I
out
never
on
have.
that.
Never have either.
I have. And sometimes when you get in the water, it feels good that it's so cold because of the poison ivy.
No,
I'm not
That's
really
the best way to clean it.
not
too.
really selling this. But anyhow, this type of fishing is something that we get to do. Go film, guys. But we're going to be doing it using our QuietKats, which will greatly cut down on the difficulty of getting to where we have to go, because those things can go
That's
through.
true.
anything.
That last time we did it, that one walk was pretty long.
Yeah, a couple miles and through. And the QuietKats, you can go ripping through, and that leaves you less exposed in the woods for less time to the mosquitoes and stuff. And we're going to be shooting some promos for those. But we've got a couple new QuietKats. We got 3 of them, and they're incredible. I mean, that we've got the Apexes. They're fast. They're unbelievably quick and unbelievably quiet and unbelievably good on rough terrain.
Yeah.
So they're going to be really great for getting back to where we need to go for the fishing and stuff like that. And we've got the little trailer on it. We can keep the cooler in so we can cold pops and all that.
Yeah.
And bring the fish out.
Yeah.
Be helpful for that too.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not going, so.
But I got to ride a QuietKat during my pointless vacation in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so annoying to go all the way there. If you listen to our last or second to last podcast,
Last
second. Was it
Either
last? No.
88,
Number
I think.
88.
88. If you listen to 88, you'll learn what Jeff's talking about. But
I wasn't at the last one.
no, you
Oh.
weren't.
Okay,
No.
that's right.
So how did the rash? Did it clear up?
Yeah, it's fine.
Just plays along.
I love it.
Trust isn't built in a day. It's built over time. The early hours and the late nights. It's built by doing the work and pushing the limits every day. Because the promises we make are the promises we were built to keep.
The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for the 3rd year in a row. And by Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Tracker Boats, fish the finest. And by these other fine sponsors. If you'd like to help support the Greenway Outdoors, please like and comment on this podcast and subscribe to all of our channels.
Did you guys hear that they put forth House Resolution 8167, which is going to gut the Pittman-Robertson Act?
Who's they?
Yeah.
58 House Republicans. So
Really?
it's the House. So it's, they got 400 or 500 whatever members. So it's not the Senate where like that would be more than half. So it's not necessarily enough to, that's the vote, they'll get it. But it's still a alarming number of people who want to take away the best, it's the best model for funding for conservation that the world has ever seen.
It's the only thing that's worked.
You know what?
I want to know
Let's
the pitch.
get rid of that.
What's the pitch?
Yeah, what is the
So-
reasoning?
Wait, I want to guess.
Okay, go
Is
ahead.
it that you said it's Republicans?
Mhm. Which surprises me.
Not really. My
No?
theory behind it is that Republicans are all about tax cutting.
Yeah,
That's a
okay,
tax.
Sure.
This is the easiest one to go for, to cut taxes, because you
Yeah.
know you're going to get the other side to agree with it.
Yeah, but this is a self-excise tax where we, as hunters and fishermen and conservationists, came together and we're like, we want to do this so that we can have more deer.
The
But it's kind of like
manufacturers.
it's like the gun thing too, where it's like once they take one thing, they move on to the next, and they move on to the next. Once you get the ball rolling,
yeah.
what else can you take out with it?
So it's a manufacturer's excise tax. So the manufacturer of the gun is the one who actually pays the tax, and then obviously in buying guns we're now paying higher because they had an additional cost. But the manufacturers are the ones who were like, yes, please, let's get this. So I don't understand who is their constituent that said, yes, let's make this happen.
Yeah, I
It's
want to
not
see
hunters.
them make the pitch.
It's not recreational.
There's not a
like
hunter.
sports.
There's not a hunter that I know of that would want this gone.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre. So for people who don't know, the Pittman-Robertson Act was signed in 1930 something by FDR, and what they were looking to do is there were a lot of species that were on either the brink of extinction or there were large populations that were just gone now because there was too much commercial hunting, and then we were destroying habitat by making new habitat for us. So what they were looking to do was to find a way to raise money to help to restore those habitats, create new habitats or improve ones that are still there, to try to bring these populations back and prevent big species that we know and love today from going extinct. It's a 11% excise tax on firearms, ammo, archery equipment,
A lot of outdoor,
a
a lot of outdoor equipment
outdoor
in general.
stuff. And then it is a 10% tax on handguns. So all this money is getting pooled, and then it gets distributed to states based on population, how much land they have, all these
Amount of
different
hunting
factors.
licenses sold.
Yeah.
There's a lot
So-
of. There's a link on. We'll put it in the bio on this episode as well. There's a link where I actually walk through every single step and explain how the money flows. But for the sake of this, that's a great explanation. But
Yeah.
we'll put the link in the bio if you're curious on how it actually works.
Sure. So this act, which again is the best funding source that the world has ever seen for conservation, they're like, and it's not that they want to get rid of it. They want it to not be about firearms anymore. What they're going to do is they're going to replace the money coming in from firearms with money coming in from offshore oil and gas revenue
What?
that the federal government is involved in. And it says it's going to set aside $800 million to go towards what the Pittman-Robertson Act is currently funding. So that way that money will still come from somewhere else, but then it won't be taxing guns, which is our Second Amendment right to have guns.
Well, that doesn't sound that terrible. What am I missing?
The Pittman-Robertson Act last year alone raised $1.5 billion.
Oh,
So it's
there it is.
barely half.
Yeah, it's
It's like,
barely half.
what? So you're getting rid of half of it.
What is their explanation for that? The half thing. Like, are they saying like, oh, you're not using it all? 'Cause that's one thing a lot of people didn't realize too. It was here in Michigan, when they got rid of the film incentive, was because like a huge percent, over 50% of the film incentive tax relief wasn't being used. So they gave it to small businesses instead that would use it. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, they got rid of the film industry in Michigan. I can't believe they did that. And to be clear, we could benefit from it if it was here. And I'm still saying it made no sense because we weren't utilizing it. It wasn't being used enough. So it was being wasted. So now it's being utilized in businesses way more. And now 100% of it's being used. So would you rather have people benefit 100% or 50%? I mean, that's the idea behind it.
Yeah.
So that's my curiosity. Is I don't know enough to have an opinion on this, other than the fact that I don't want it to be less. But what if are we only using half? And they're like, hey, this is a waste.
My concern is I would rather know that the money is coming from people who actually care about where it's going to, and we have we have a actual stake in what's happening with that money. Whereas money coming from revenue from federal offshore oil and gas, what do they care?
And
That's
also risky that could go away.
Yeah.
Like you can see that just going away.
Once you've changed it, now people don't care as much about it, and then next thing you know, it goes away, and we didn't even know about it.
We'd know.
Not to
There
get all
wouldn't be any more deer.
conspiracy theory,
It's
but
got to go there.
it sounds pretty like, well, we're going to change it, and it's going to be this, and then now what you're doing is getting back to the 2000s where you're fueling that war machine for oil.
Yeah.
We're like, well, that's where our money comes from. That's why the nature isn't doing as well, is because that's where the money comes from. From all that, go get our oil and blow stuff up.
To remove it from the guns sales seems ridiculous, considering I was just telling Kyle this earlier today that every month guns are sold more than the previous month, and the streak is like 35 plus months. So like
right now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like whatever's sold in June, July is going to outsell it. And
The Pittman-Robertson
it's been compounding on itself for a very long time.
Get rid of it.
The Pittman-Robertson Act, over its, since it's been around, has raised $22.5 billion. Last year, 2021 alone, it raised $1.5 billion. So a 20th of it has come in the last year, when it's been around since 1937.
See, and that's my point, is when you're saying like, well, it's less than half. It's less than half of 1 year. That was when a Democrat was elected in office, and everyone went gun happy.
Well,
buying.
it was also a crazy year where everyone was locked in their homes for a long time, and then once they got out, at first they weren't allowed to do public things. So what did they do? They went and did outdoor stuff. So everybody who was into outdoor stuff and wanted to do more, because at first all you could do was boat, but you couldn't have a certain number of people on your boat, and you couldn't. So like everyone was going fishing. I would assume it's similar.
Yeah, the hunting and
outdoor
fishing
stuff.
licenses went up, skyrocketed, and the amount of sales too.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is like, that's why I get real scared of talking points when people are like, oh, well, it's less than half. Well, it's less than half of that year, but is that the running average of what they actually spend, or was some wasted?
Right.
I guess I just don't know enough to have an opinion on it. But obviously, this just happened, and it's not passing. It doesn't.
I
doubt it.
Here's so the funny thing is the people who have sponsored it, one of their main things is you shouldn't be able to tax something that is our unalienable right to own a firearm.
But don't they have sales tax on it?
Yes. But then on top of
that's the most backwards
But then on
thought
top
process.
of that, now you've got an additional 11% tax. The actual name of the act is the Return Our Constitutional Rights Act. And return is all capitals because it's an acronym for Repealing Excise Tax on Unalienable Rights Now.
Wow.
So their take is that it's our right to own firearms, and you're taxing that. Now, 43 or 44 different outdoors groups and gun ownership groups all came together and wrote a letter that was basically like, this is dumb, don't do this, including the NRA. If you try to pass an act that says, hey, you're infringing on our Second Amendment right, and the NRA goes, nah, that ain't it, Chief.
Yeah.
You're not right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that the NRA is against it definitely is helps me lean the one way.
But it's
for sure.
the whole thing with it, it's self-invoked.
Yeah.
The whole thing. We've decided on this. This is what we want.
I hate taxes, right? So I really have an issue anytime there's a lot of taxes. Technically, the federal government's only job is supposed to be to protect our borders, from military, our judicial system, and then, to me, the environment. Those are the only three things that they should be doing. Everything else should be state-run. I know that's a big thing to be saying.
Ask. especially
But
right now.
that's what pretty much the Constitution says, so it really should be the case. That being said, and the benefit of that is then the local governments, like if let's say everything's running in Michigan, and then it breaks down into local governments become more important, which means your voice is louder. So by the federal government having less control and that government being really, really tiny, that leaves the people in their local states to have a much bigger voice in how their life is run around them. It's the same reason, like I use the example of if your kid was bad in school, you wouldn't expect the mayor to come over and ground your kid. You'd be like, what the hell are you doing here? In the same sense, you wouldn't have the federal government making decisions for you that should be done at the local level. And it's the same, but a lot of people miss that. And I tend to really, really, really hate taxes, and I hate seeing them get compounded, and I hate all the BS. I hate the inflated government. I mean, they have a system in place where there's one person in charge of our education system across the country, and then everyone pays into a federal tax fund, and then they decide where that money goes to.
You know how wildly different
you think that's
schooling
going to,
is from Maine to California?
how the kids have different different lifestyles, different importance. Not to say that the basis shouldn't be standard, but they'll decide that at the local level. So that is having the federal government be so swollen at the top level, I hate, and therefore I hate taxes. And typically, I like the idea of repealing anything you can, but given the fact that this is something where hunters and fishermen and conservationists and, like you said, the companies themselves came together and were like, hey, we need to make sure there's a future of natural resources in the outdoor industry, so let's do this together. It makes a lot of sense. That said, if the money is guaranteed from somewhere else and it's going to come in, then that is a good thing.
Yeah, I guess we need to know if what they have earmarked is enough money
and
to do.
It sounds like it may or may not be. But at the same time, if the NRA is against it, then there's probably some points here that we're missing. Again, it doesn't sound like it's getting traction, and it doesn't sound like it'll go anywhere. But this is the stuff that's being talked about, and it's
One of the other arguments that I saw that I thought was kind of funny was they're talking about how, so all these people that own guns, it's a minority of them that actually hunt with those guns. The majority is actually the people who just shoot recreationally. And it's like, they don't hunt and fish, so why should they be taxed for something that they don't even get to enjoy? So I looked into it further.
Doesn't everyone enjoy the outdoors, though?
Sure, yeah, sure.
They shooting inside.
But
shooting clays inside, guys.
People don't look at it that way. It's not specifically impacting them as far as they see it.
Yeah, I guess that was a socialized.
Yeah. But they did amend the Pittman-Robertson Act in like 1970, I think. And what they did was they said, okay, well, a portion of this money, because there are a lot of people who don't hunt who still buy guns. So we want a portion of this money to go towards education, including hunters' education, but it's also firearm education, that kind of stuff, and then public target ranges. So everybody who buys guns, this is beneficial for. So there isn't really, I didn't see anything online that was aggressive that was like, I don't like, this is great. I'm excited that they're gonna got this thing that has benefited. At least it's a tax that not that you ever really know, but that you kind of know where the money's going. Every year you get your income tax and your sales tax goes to all this, and then we know most of it gets wasted by the bureaucracy crap,
It's true.
So I don't know. I at least like it because you kind of know where it's going. But
yeah, it's a tough one, but it sounds like if the NRA is against it, then that's probably not the right move. But I want to look into it more. But there's.
Yeah, maybe this will be a reoccurring subject for the next.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, if they're
going to
get
the news for a while,
if they're going to get it from the oil companies, that's an interesting thing too, because they're trying to get rid of the oil companies.
Right.
So that doesn't seem like a super stable environment. But then it also kind of is, but we're also not tapping here. So when we could be, like, we're shutting down pipelines, we're doing everything else. Can't wait to pay $6 for gas.
I don't know what offshore means.
Yeah.
If that includes other, maybe it would be enough to be sustainable. But
are we making Saudi Arabia play it?
Technically, they're off our shore. So
yeah. Weird.
So to move away from politics a little bit, since we've been on the topic for a while.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's not my fault the lady said Mexicans.
Hello. Hello.
Sorry, AJ.
Has anyone here been to Yellowstone?
No.
No, I have not.
I thought you did.
Not yellow.
Did Kayla?
No.
I thought she went.
Oh, she did. You're right. She did.
Oh.
Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Oh, yeah. Are you on the way or in the way? Anyway. Go ahead.
Has anyone spent any time around Buffalo?
Mm-mm.
Just in Texas.
Oh, just with you.
Yeah.
Was that Texas? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Tatanka.
Well, that's right. I kind of forgot about
Every
that.
time we talk about it,
We got pretty close.
Yeah.
it reminds me of Jeremy because he always goes, Tatanka, Tatanka, Tatanka. You
Who?
probably haven't seen it.
Who?
Jeremy says that every time we talk about the Tatanka hunt that we're going to do.
Oh,
Tatanka is, it's
Buffalo.
yeah, but it's from, have you seen Dances with Wolves?
No.
I think you'd enjoy that movie.
Maybe.
Kevin Costner directed it.
Tatanka.
Oh, wow.
Tatanka.
In his defense, he told me I was going to love a river runs through it, and then without telling him, I watched it because I didn't want him to be right, but he was right. I liked it.
He loved it.
I know Tatanka from that was the name of the golf course that when I went out to Nebraska
Oh.
to do construction. That was Tatanka Golf Resort or whatever.
Yeah, it's kids' toys.
It all comes back around.
Tatanka. Okay, so we've spent a mild amount of time around Buffalo, who were
Some could say.
I would classify as pets based on the way they behaved.
Well, yeah, it was on a farm.
Yeah.
It was a little different.
They all
Yeah.
had
They get fed.
Yeah.
by hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he did say, he's like, don't go near the males, though.
Yeah.
Well, there was a specific number. Don't go near number 7.
Yeah, number 7.
Number 7's not friendly.
The ones with babies, I would assume, are also a bad choice to
I
be
don't know.
near.
But we were all pretty skittish.
Yeah.
It turns out people who visit Yellowstone are not.
Oh.
In a very, very...
They tried to milk one, but it was a male.
It's just one of those.
Oh, that reminds me. I have
They
a
were
good
at-
story about that,
They were
too.
in the second bucket before someone told them what was
Is
going
this
on.
One of those, is this one of those Darwin Award stories? Where
A
survival
little
of the
bit.
fittest, they wouldn't make it.
It happens every year.
Yeah.
But my Buffalo story, we were at Cabela's, and Elizabeth was my sister, was super young at the time. There was a big buffalo mount sitting on the floor, and she looks under it, and she goes, "Oh, look, it's Milker." There's only one Milker.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But anyhow,
Where'd she learn that?
I don't
You guys
know.
had a dog.
Yeah.
No, come on, guy.
Buffalo story.
So Yellowstone, they have an attack. Some old man gets gored.
Eek.
Okay.
Curveball.
I don't know that he died, but he got gored, so he was messed up pretty good. 48 hours later, a mother and daughter also get attacked. They survived. They were.
What are these people
I was
doing?
gonna guess it, and I would have been right.
What are they doing? Just walking up to him? What's going on out here?
Well, okay, so that's what
many
my whole
armadillo
main
holes.
point of this whole story. People getting attacked. The rule in the park is don't get closer than 25 yards to elk, deer, buffalo.
They can run like how fast?
That's what I'm saying.
You shouldn't even get that close.
25 yards is not far.
They're faster than you. Can't they go like 40 or 50 or something?
Well, let's look.
I'll look. You keep talking.
But yeah, my whole thing with this is no closer than 25 yards. That's not far. I mean, a light kick with a soccer ball
Yeah.
will roll 25 yards.
They can run 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, and they're also 2,000 pounds.
You know what's crazy about running 35 miles an hour? They can do it and you can't.
Yeah.
I don't think I would get within 25 yards without being like at least in a car or something.
Loaded. I'd have a gun.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good way to think about it, actually.
And they're wild, right?
Imagine a car is coming out at you at 35, 2,000-pound car is coming at you at 35 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
But now it can steer and move really well and flip you up in the air a lot better than a car can.
And it comes with its little.
Tatanka.
And it turns around, and then it turns around immediately
You could
to
get
come step
gored.
on you.
Made out of
Gored.
great food though.
To be, I will say, getting gored to me sounds only slightly worse than drinking dip spit.
AJ,
Which only that tells you how high I put drinking dip spit.
AJ, play the clip of the guy doing the gore in WWE.
Okay.
Sweet.
What's that?
Gore?
Like
When
Al?
Al Gore was in the WWE.
No, not Al Gore. Jeez.
Al Snow.
You had the Rhino. He did the gore. The gore. He
I-
gored him.
No.
Gore.
Only nerds watch that when I was in
I'm
school.
Yeah,
trying.
I heard it from a friend on the playground. I didn't
We
watch
both made an
RVD?
Al Gore reference. So I don't think we're really much
Nah.
better.
it. Yeah, you went with Al Gore.
I was gonna go with his wrestling character was Man Bear Pig. Anybody?
Is that from
That's from South Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
You
Man
didn't
Bear
watch
Pig?
South Park.
Any-
You didn't
Bear
have,
Pig.
you didn't
Anyhow.
have cable. You wouldn't know.
So
It's a premium
poor
channel.
Jeff had air conditioning too.
Yeah.
Must have been nice.
So, anyways, people are getting killed left and right by this buffalo because they can't maintain it. Although one of the descriptions, it was the mother and daughter. They unknowingly, I think was the word, approached buffalo. I don't know how you unknowingly approach them because they tend to stay out in the fields and.
I've unknowingly approached a bear once, but I'll tell you after this. Go ahead.
I only got wet in the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
But okay, so the rule
He
of
couldn't feel it because he was in the water.
There-
No, I'm just kidding.
Did you give the water consent?
the rule for deer, elk, buffalo, your smaller, large mammals, less aggressive, is 25 yards. They enforce it. The rangers enforce it when they're around, but when
There's only so
it's
many.
Yellowstone,
It's big.
yeah, it's a big place. It's hard to enforce. The rule for predators, bears and wolves, is 100 yards. Also, not that
Still
far.
Too close.
I would not feel comfortable looking at a grizzly bear 100 yards away outside of my vehicle. Even in my vehicle, I'm
Yeah,
a little
I know.
like,
That goes to
if
show
you
you
want to
though,
get through this, you can.
people just don't understand wildlife. Like they see a bear and they think, "Oh, he's cute and he's color." He will
he's
kill
not,
you.
He's not being aggressive, so he's not aggressive.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's go take a picture.
That was the other thing with this. All these attacks.
Me and Barry.
They were saying that there's a very large misunderstanding about the behavior of buffalo, that people think they're in some way docile,
No.
and they are not.
The only ones they've ever seen are the ones at the farms.
Yeah, be inept to think that.
There's a lot of inept people.
Yeah, I mean, even pigs are like will
Yeah.
mess you up.
Yeah.
You lay down in a pen with pigs and they'll just start eating you if you're
yeah.
still.
Yeah,
These two things I'm about to say are unrelated to the fullest, but I find it funny that a family of 3 gets gored on Yellowstone, yet when they did Running with the Bulls last week, thousands of people, no one managed to get gored. They're separate. I get it.
I
but-
actually
They knew it was there.
listened to a guy who did that, and he was talking about it, and they're like, you could do that whole race very easily without ever seeing a bull.
yeah, okay.
All the
They-
people in the front are fine.
Not even that. There's just like a few bulls to the thousands of people,
Mhm.
and it's not that far to go. The people who you see getting gored, they're going to the bull on purpose. Like that's why they're
okay.
there, is to touch the bull to get there.
Dumb.
And you know,
What do
then
they
they get
and-
the
and
and
to
they
get
get the
gored.
they get the enema.
Yep.
The guy that grabs him by the milker and then that's you're gonna get it.
That's actually how you win the race.
Grabbing him by the milker?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Oh, right,
First
really?
one to
I
get a
can't
full-
tell.
No, I'm just kidding.
I can't tell.
First one to get a full frothy glass wins.
Whoa, Jeff, come on.
Frothy.
What are you, Chris
Frothy.
Pontius
They're
and
running
Jackass
around
2?
in bucket. I
Jeff,
assume it's
Jeff,
So
over the line.
This is kind of a funny story. There's a picture of a trout that I was super pumped about on the screen right now, and it was a brown trout that I caught on a small river doing exactly the trout fishing that we were talking about earlier. And I called my dad to tell him about it on the walk back, and I had my head down. And where I was, it was really steep on both sides, like big ledge, like really steep down to the river, and it was all pine trees. So the whole ground was made up of pine needles, so my steps were like silent, and the
Yeah.
river's kind of loud. So
Was
I'm-
this the time I was with you?
no, I was alone.
No,
Different time.
the COVID year.
Oh.
So I'm
Oh,
walking,
okay.
and I got it was the year that I went like 12 times.
Yeah.
Didn't fare well for my relationship, but I got a lot of weekends in that year. It was great. But I was walking with my head down, and I was dialing my dad to call and tell him about the fish because I was super pumped about it. It's the biggest brown trout I had pulled out of there. And it was a small river, so it was like, it's just, when you get a decent fish out of a real small river on a tiny little #1 MEP spinner, and it's an ultralight and your rod's bent in half and you kept them out of the logs and you got them to shore, it's a rush. And I was just super stoked about it. And my dad, I was talking, I like dialed and it was started ringing, and when it rang, it was loud. And all of a sudden, and I kid you not, from me to Jeff away, I hear splash in the water, and I must have scared the living daylights out of this bear, and he scared the living daylights out of me, but he was terrified. But he was probably 220, 230 pounds. He jumps in the water, goes across, and goes running up the hill as fast as he could. And I was like in shock at first, and I was like, hey, bear, hey, bear. And I was trying to call to him so he'd stop and look because I was trying to get a picture of him because I thought that'd be cool. But
You go.
for like
and then he got gored.
for 3 seconds I was terrified, and then after that he was so scared of me that I just wanted to get it. Like his fear I felt, and I assume that's why everyone dies in Jurassic Park, because they're scared.
They can't see if you don't move.
Exactly.
It's kind of funny though. I mean, like as scared as you got, a rabbit or a bird trying to scramble away from you while you're not paying attention and you didn't know it was there is almost as terrifying. Like when you're just like kind of doing your thing and it's like
You're like, ah,
yeah.
Bear.
you start hopping around. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. No, but that was pretty cool. But the bear numbers in Michigan, in Northwest Michigan, where we're at, I'm seeing so many now. I used to see none. Now we see a ton of them on our property everywhere.
Pittman-Robertson Act.
Yeah, no, I think it's the fact that they don't allow enough bear licenses to go out, and they continually to raise the point threshold and everything else and make it basically impossible to get a bear in Michigan. But
We were putting in for up there for bear,
before we had the show,
and I went and looked at those numbers and what they give non-residents. We might as well just sign up for the points. It's dumb.
yeah, I told you that.
It's dumb.
Someone recently was like, "Oh, I've got 8 or 9 points. It should be coming up." I'm like, "In your
Nope.
dreams,
Nope.
cupcake."
There's like 200 and some for residents and 3 for non-residents. It's like,
Wait, what are you talking about?
I don't remember if it was actually where Deer Camp is, but you can see the numbers that every year where they gave out the bear tags.
Oh, he's saying 209 licenses went out
Were
versus
given
3
out, and
non-residential.
3 of them were non-resident. It's
Yeah.
like something. I don't know that it was exactly that. That may have been another one of the counties I was looking at, but it was like that aggressive, and it's like, well, that's dumb. I shouldn't have even bothered. I should just go to the UP. It's a lot higher up there.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to get UP licenses, but the numbers here are good. And the thing about the UP is we don't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
We have property here with bears all over it, and we can't get one.
Yeah, I got a buddy with property up there, so we may be able to.
You don't have other friends. We're all here, and
I
that's
find
it.
don't bear hunt.
Jeff has a cabin, has for the last 5 years, and we've never been invited to it until he needed us to go to some party.
That's true.
So,
That is fair.
Mhm.
That is fair.
and then,
On that note, and now that we're all getting along, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Green Bay Outdoors podcast. Check out our HuntCast series. It's our online series, a little bit more gritty, along for the ride, less voiceovers, more like along for it on Carbon TV. Also, check out our Quick Trip series. Ryan just got done putting a bunch of them together. I think there's like 12 episodes up on our YouTube channel now. They're like 3 or 6 minute videos, just really quick trips that are really awesome. Check us out on Clicks TV as well. All of our content is going to Clicks TV, and it's going there first. Very, very cool platform. Absolutely love it. And it's really up and coming. There's all kinds of cool videos on Clicks TV. Think about it like mixing TikTok and Netflix into one. It's really, really cool. So check out Clicks TV. Also, our full TV show has now come to Carbon TV as well. So if you're an outdoors men and women and you're enjoying Carbon TV and you're watching this podcast there or checking out the HuntCast there, also check out our main TV show. It just launched on my birthday, July 11th. So it is up and rolling now. In addition to that, we have a new podcast every single week. Video podcast. You can see it on YouTube or Carbon TV if you are only listening to it on iTunes or Google Play. We have our outdoor education series, which teaches you all about hunting and fishing, different life skills and stuff like that. But we hold our production quality to the same high level our TV show is. That way you can actually learn and understand it. You don't get one of those creepy YouTube videos that you stumble upon with a GoPro video with some guy in his basement who isn't actually that descriptive or
And
qualified
you can't
to
even
teach you.
see what he's
Exactly.
doing.
Also, check out our Greenway gear. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay green.